A magnet and heavy rare earth circular economy first mover. We've got Ionic Rare Earths, headed by Tim Harrison, their MD. He is here to explain Ionic's basket appeal. I read that, I had a bit of fun, but it's definitely basket appeal. And the value for us as potential investors of being part of a company that has the highest value and most sought after REEs on the market. Welcome, sir. Would you please make him welcome, everyone?
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Look, I'm quite proud of the achievements of the company over the last 12 months since we're here. We continue to push on with both the Makuutu project, but what's really gaining the most amount of traction is the rapid progress that we're making with Ionic Technologies, which is our recycling business in the UK. So if we look at the supply chain, it's incredibly complex and there's a lot of value addition steps. What we've done over the last 12 months is move forward with relationships to help build what we think is a unique potential, a unique opportunity for this company to become more integrated into these new supply chains that are forming. So over the course of the last 12 months, we've announced partnerships with Less Common Metals and Ford to develop a UK supply chain on recycled magnet rare earths. And earlier this year, we announced a partnership and a JV with Veritas, which is an exciting opportunity, again, to work with another company that's in the Brazilian theatre, developing ionic adsorption clay. And we think that the relationship that we've got with VMM can position the company to certainly execute the delivery of a refinery, but also take our recycling technology to that market. So if we just quickly cover off on the assets, we've got the Makuutu Rare Earth Project. So this is an ionic adsorption clay deposit in Uganda. We currently own 60%. We've agreed to move to 94% with our partners. We've completed a feasibility study. We've now got our mining licence. We've got our environmental permits. And we've built a demonstration plant where we're now making mixed rare earth carbonate in Uganda. The other end of the supply chain, we've got our recycling business where we've also built a demonstration plant in Belfast. We're now producing high-purity separated magnet rare earth oxides. We're the first company on the ASX to produce high-purity terbium and dysprosium, and we're leveraging that product into supply chain relationships with metal alloy and magnet manufacturers. And the relationship that we've defined with Less Common Metals and Ford is a model that we will see replicated with other partners as we take that technology forward. And then finally, the joint venture we've announced with VMM. We are looking now to leverage that refining opportunity and recycling opportunity in Brazil, putting a footprint in that market and leveraging that into what has the potential to be a much larger magnet rare earths opportunity for the company. So I just want to touch a little bit more on the opportunity with Ionic Technologies. We are in the UK, we're in Northern Ireland. The technology itself has come out of Queen's University, Belfast. We acquired the business in April of 2022, and over the course of the last 2 years, we've grown a team of 5 to about 29 at the moment. We've had significant support from the UK government, about £3.7 million of grants across 3 programs, which are helping the company de-risk the technology, demonstrate the technology, and now advance a feasibility study for a commercial plant in Belfast, and also demonstrate what that supply chain could look like for the UK. Simply put, we take end-of-life materials, so magnets, but we can also take the waste products from the production of metals, alloys and magnets. So we take that material and we unlock the intrinsic value of the rare earths in that waste material, taking it back to a high purity oxide, which can then be deployed in the production of new metals, alloys and magnets to make newer, better sintered magnets for the energy transition and also, importantly, military and defence. The concept here, and this one shows the recycling and our ability to take end-of-life turbines and repurpose that material, effectively upcycling it, because we take those end-of-life magnets And we're able to extract the rare earths, which can now be deployed in making better magnets that typically thrift the amount of heavy rare earths. So we can take that material to make it stretch further into more magnet capacity. The technology itself is environmentally friendly because we're not having to mine all that material in order to produce the magnet rare earths, which is what the supply chain is looking for. We can provide a transparent supply chain. We can show the provenance of the material, where it's come from and where it's going to. You know, we can create that closed-loop domestic supply chain, which is less susceptible for manipulation from external forces. We have a stability on price because, again, we have a process that's treating the same 4 rare earth elements from an upgraded product. You know, so a permanent magnet typically has got about 33% magnet rare earths. So in order to produce 1 kilo of separated magnet rare earths, we're treating about 3 kilos of magnets. And the technology is cookie cutter. What we're doing in Belfast, we're now evaluating the rollout and putting that technology in other markets with partners that are looking to expedite the recycling in other jurisdictions. So what's happening in Belfast, we now see, and we have the potential to see that rapidly deployed over the next 12 months. At a high level, what we do is we take the magnets, we crush them. Well, first we demagnetise them, then we crush them, we mill them, we digest them. So it's a hydrometallurgical process. Once we've digested them, we can then separate the rare earths away from the iron and the base metals that are present in the alloy. And with that high-grade, upgraded mixed rare earth product, we're then able to separate that into the individual rare earth oxides, and ultimately we take them all the way through to high-purity oxides. And if you want to come past booth 13, we're happy to show you the samples that we've been generating in our demonstration plant. The technology has a lot of flexibility. It can take significant variability, and what the work that we've done over the last 2 years has demonstrated to us is that there is substantial variability in the quality of the magnets that have been produced over, you know, the last few decades, variability in the ratio of the rare earth elements, and it's that variability that means that if you were to recycle this material into a mixed product, it has a limited capacity to go into advanced manufacturing for sintered magnets today, because the supply chain is looking for consistency and quality in order to feed into the OEMs across the electric vehicle and wind turbine industries. Belfast, as a location, is probably something that a lot of you wouldn't have really had an appreciation of the compelling opportunity that we have there. And truth be told, since we acquired the technology, policy and what we're seeing unfolding in that Belfast market is making us even more encouraged at the decision that we've made and the opportunity that's at our doorstep. Belfast itself has incredible infrastructure. At one time in history, it had a third of the world's ship making, so it has a deep water port and the infrastructure to support the rollout of offshore wind, but also importantly the decommissioning of offshore wind. The UK was one of the first adopters of offshore wind, and so with that fleet now reaching the end of life, there is an appreciable amount of those wind turbines that we will see coming through the Belfast harbour, and our location, prime in the middle of that prime in the middle of that harbour, presents us with a unique opportunity. We've also seen policy supporting our decision in Belfast with the Windsor framework. At a very high level, what that means is that we now have the ability from a site in Belfast to participate in both the UK market and the EU market, and that's important for our ability to also support the European Critical Raw Material Act, which has defined a target of 25% of the magnet rare earth supply chain to come from recycling by the end of this decade. Beyond that, obviously, there's very strong relationships with the US, and we're closely monitoring progress with relationships and the Atlantic Declaration between the UK and US, and obviously the AUKUS relationship where a plant in Belfast has the ability to satisfy a very strategic military and defence capability. The image on the left shows the D3 yard, which is an offshore wind terminal that's been established approximately 300 metres from Ionic Technologies' existing demonstration plant. And if you drive past that today, you'll see probably, a few dozen wind turbines and about 4 or 5 nacelles that are being set up there ready for the deployment and the reconditioning. So we're in a prime location to take advantage of this opportunity at our doorstep. And as we advance the feasibility study for the commercial plant in Belfast, we've also identified a spot smack bang in the middle of that harbour, which we're working with stakeholders to support the commercial plant deployment. So if we look quickly at the timeline from lab scale when we acquired the business, we quickly moved through pilot with the support of the government on the demonstration plant. We're now going 24/7, producing separated magnet rare earths. We've been inundated by that capability, and we've now got appetite to fill that plant for the next 18 months. So we see a huge opportunity to consider increasing the capacity of the demonstration plant, but also thinking about a much bigger recycling opportunity in Belfast. And with that, we're completing the feasibility study, looking at a 2026 planned operation with the ability to scale this out globally. Touch briefly upon the European Critical Raw Material Act, which is a policy that I think we'll see other countries look to adopt. Importantly, they're looking at 25% of their supply chain to come from recycling. And they've also introduced policy which makes it illegal for the end-of-life material to be exported outside of the jurisdiction, which again creates capacity for that recycling venture to take off. And I just want to quickly touch upon the Makuutu Rare Earth Project, which is our ionic adsorption clay in Uganda. We're now producing mixed rare earth carbonate. We've completed a feasibility study, and that mixed rare earth carbonate is being used now to progress advanced offtake negotiations as we explore the development of these alternative supply chains. Makuutu itself, we're about 1,000 kilometres from the port of Mombasa. In Uganda, we've got extremely good infrastructure, so we're well supported by hydroelectric power. The product that we make at Makuutu is very rich in magnet and heavy rare earths, and that's a unique offering, especially for Western governments that are now looking to secure the heavy rare earths to look at the decoupling with the existing supply chain. The tenements that we cover are about 300 square kilometres, and that mineralisation trend is about 37 kilometres long end to end. We completed the feasibility study last year with a capital investment of around 120 million, and we continue to work on the financing of that and the offtake and the strategic partnering required to develop the project. Finally, just want to quickly cover off on the joint venture that we've announced with Veritas. So we will work together now to develop both refining and recycling capacity in Brazil. 2 weeks ago, we hosted a delegation from the Brazilian government to Belfast to talk about the recycling opportunity. And we see a huge opportunity in that Brazilian market given a low-cost base, substantial endowment of ionic adsorption clay potential in Brazil, but also a huge upside for further advanced manufacturing in that market. We believe that recycling is going to be an early value addition in that market, and we have been in discussions with the Brazilian government for nearly 2 years about the opportunity. So it's something that we're very keen to explore in partnership with VMM. Finally, the board and management, earlier this year we appointed Brett Lynch as our new chairman, and Brett certainly supported the company, investing approximately 2 million in the last 4 months. Quick snapshot of the corporate profile. Obviously a pretty challenging market, and I know we're all feeling it. We've just raised another 5.5 million, and now looking to take that funds and kick some goals over the course of the next few months. And with that, I'd like to thank you all, and if you have any questions, happy to answer them at booth 13 and also show off our high purity magnet rare earth oxides. Thank you.
That was very impressive. You can come and get a job on TV and radio with me with a countdown like that, sir. Well done.